Okay, here's the book again, and you can get it on Amazon. It's hardcover, Kindle, and paperback. This is the paperback. I would call it a faith manifesto. That is, as I say in the preface or introduction, I sort of took off my academic scholarly hat. Not saying it's not academic, it has full bibliography, hundreds and hundreds of notes, but sort of took off that hat because I kept getting asked, well, what do you believe? What's the upshot of all this that you're presenting and studying? Where do you find yourself? And where I find myself is affirming that the Bible is the story of one man's family, Abraham, and it's traced in the Bible, at least, through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Ishmael has a place, and the people of Israel, and on down through what people often call the Jewish people. But for me, it's the record of the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, that's a concise package of sorts. Now, it's very diverse and it has differences and similarities, and you do have to read it historically and critically, or you're not going to get anywhere, as far as I'm concerned. But I find enough in that proposal to stand out. First of all, I believe in God, but what does that mean? A word, God. And I covered that in the first chapter rather thoroughly. What do I mean? What do I mean by God? And then the faith it begins to get expressed through Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and through the prophets particularly, and into the writings, some of the Psalms, and there are lots of resources in the Hebrew Bible. It's a big book. I find that it's unique because there's a sense in which it's not even a religion by normal standards, which really strikes me as unique. Religions are basically about another world and about afterlife. And yes, God blesses you and guides you and helps you in this world, but mainly, what for? What's it all about? And did you know if I pick up a Hebrew Bible here, I got to do the drama. Here's an actual Hebrew Bible. This doesn't give any answers to those big questions. It really doesn't. What's life after death? Well, there's a place called Sheol, and you are dust, and to dust you shall return. You say, well, do you ever come back from that? Well, uh, I have chapters I talk about that. It's not real clear as an affirmation. It's certainly not like in the New Testament, like at the end, there'll be the resurrection, and this is what it means, and so forth. We think the book of Daniel is fairly late, and it does have one text on resurrection, and there's one in Isaiah 26, which is also a late text. Other than that, it's not talked about. Why? Because it's a this worldly book.
Hmm.
There's a
Yeah.
famous poem by Robert Frost that I like called Birches. It's about boys climbing birch trees and going up to heaven, and then the birch tree swings down and they ride the birches, right? I've never done it, but apparently they do it in New England. And you know what he says at the end? The earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. Think about it. And so, what do you have in the Hebrew Bible? This is the good earth. It's you didn't fall into this world. It's not a mistake. Humans didn't fall. They made choices to leave childhood innocence, right? If you begin to read these stories of Garden of Eden and leaving the garden and so forth. But there's never any answer really given. Job, for example, says, I wish that my case someday could be judged by a redeemer. It's literally a Goel, somebody who could be a lawyer in my defense because I do not think I deserve what happened. And all of you friends of mine are saying I did, I must have done something wrong, and I'm standing my ground. And he said, if a tree is cut down, it can even grow sprouts. Or if you cut down plants, they can grow back. At the scent of water, a seed can come up. Man lies low and awakes no more. No, the heavens be no more, he will not awake. Ecclesiastes, the same thing. So, what kind of a religion is it that has these pessimistic, realistic statements about death and another world? It's ancient Near Eastern thought. It stays with the ancient Near East. And you think, well, that's pretty hopeless and dismal. Only if you think that this world is not a good place.
Mm.
Now, it is a world full of horrors. That's called Outside the Gates of Eden, to use another poet, Bob Dylan. What happens outside the gates of Eden? Humans are free. Humans are made in the image of God. So what do? Cain kills Abel, right? And on it goes. Violence fills the earth. So the Bible is a big book. I'm not a fundamentalist. I don't read it always literally, but in terms of a kind of an unfolding saga, that's what I try to represent. And it's organized really simply. It's God. What do you mean in the Hebrew thought of God? The way. What do you mean the way? What is the way? Is the way going and slaughtering men, women, and children and animals and genocide? Is that the way? What is the way? And then the plan? Like what would that possibly mean? And finally, I put a chapter in mainly because of Christians, the Messiah. And then final chapter, just like, what are you going to do about it?
Mm.
But you know, it's a lonely road. I'll quote Robert Frost again. You know what he put on his tombstone? This is my faith. I've had a lover's quarrel with the world. Write that on my tombstone.
That's a good
A
one.
lover's quarrel with the world. A lover's quarrel. Loving life, loving the world, loving the beauty of everything that we have. But a quarrel with all kinds of things, from why bad, horrible things happen to good people and what are the costs of human freedom, that we are autonomous, self-conscious beings reflecting the image of the forces of all forces of the universe. Are we a fluke? Or are we rooted in the depths of the consciousness of the whole universe? And then within our power, think about this. This is the scariest thing I'm going to say today. Within your power, you can do anything you want. Wow. Talk about a crazy experiment. But what would be the alternative? Robotic control. But you can do anything you choose to do, anything within your power. But I think within all of us, there is resonating that good, that yearning for the good. And even some of the most wicked behavior that we could think about, those individuals don't like to see it done to them, right? Golden rule. And most of them hypocritically would stand up for what's right. Do you think the dictators and despots of the world, they want to appear good, right?
Yeah.
You know, think of Putin. Does he say, I'm a wicked, evil man and I murder and kill people and I'm awful? No, he says, oh, no, I'm wonderful. I do this and I do that and here that, you know. So this is the thing. So I find the Bible, I love the Bible. I'm sure it's autobiographical, you know. Maybe if I were born in another time and place with another culture, of course, I might end up differently. But I love the Bible. I've studied history of religion. I think it stands unique and I'm kind of hooked on it. But it is a lonely road.
Hmm.
If you don't belong in Christianity, you might find a home in Judaism that's certainly closer to Abrahamic faith, particularly more, should we say, progressive forms of Judaism that would
Mm.
admit critical studies and so forth.
Mm.
I love the website, thetorah.com. You got to put the in, thetorah.com. It tends to be really nice articles on the kind of thing I'm talking about. And you said you converted to Judaism. I go to synagogues sometimes, but generally it's a lonely road. So what people do, they just have to find their own way. But I don't direct people to anything. But Abrahamic faith was a household faith. So that's kind of nice, you know,
Mm.
the story of one man's. And I guess my favorite passage in the book is in Genesis. Abraham will teach the way of Hashem, or the Eternal One, and his household. He'll teach his seed, his family, and his household the way, justice and righteousness. So in Judaism, there's this phrase I love. I don't think it's specifically in the Hebrew Bible, but I love it. Tikkun ha'olam, fixing the world. Let's fix the world. Like, what's wrong? If a lake is polluted, let's let's don't fly off to heaven. Let's figure out who polluted it and why. And why is the good earth getting ruined by us primarily?
Mm.
And how are we treating the animals? And how are we being managers of the planet? You say, well, that's not religion. Isn't that ecology or something? I mean, is that what you're for? I'm for doing good in every way and doing justice and righteousness. And I go through the five virtues of the Hebrew Bible. That's what I'm
Mm.
for. I think you almost have to be for them if you're a good person.
Mm.
I mean, are you against justice? Are you against truth? Are you against love and mercy and grace? And these work together because you don't want to have a bunch of sloppy grace without justice, right? And you
Mm.
need truth, and you need mercy, and you need faith. So I'm drawn to the Hebrew Bible.
Yeah, I
So
share that.
if I had a label, I would say I wouldn't go with Ebionite or anything. I would go with Hebrew. So what is Hebrew? One who crosses over from the ancient culture in Abraham's time of Babylon, which then becomes a metaphor throughout the Bible, means confusion, the human way of greed and selfishness and all the negative things of human history, to the positive vision of how could this world be what it was meant to be and what it could be. And there I go to the prayer of Jesus. Let your kingdom come, your rule. Let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's it. So I don't know how you encapsulate it better than that. So yeah, you say, well, you're kind of a critical, skeptical scholar. Well, yeah, on some things, but I also believe the things that I say in the book. So good way to end.